Oh, let's not pretend we didn't all buy into it at first. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, the couple who were supposed to change the royal script forever. That was their whole pitch, right? The rebel royals who turned their backs on palaces, crowns, and stiff smiles, all in the name of living a more authentic life. No tiaras, no endless bowing, no stale Buckingham traditions. Just two people in love determined to make the world a better place. And they sold it beautifully. They swapped royal tours for TED Talks, duties for non-profit ventures. Their brand? Kindness, empowerment, change. They stood for the underdog, healing trauma, amplifying silenced voices, fighting for causes too small for the spotlight. They made you believe in them, and millions did. Ordinary people sent their hard-earned cash. Corporations wrote seven-figure checks. The message was clear. Meghan and Harry were going to do good. But now, honey, now it's looking less like a fairy tale and more like a Netflix true crime special in the making. And right at the center of this mess, their oh-so-polished charity foundation. On the outside, their foundation was everything a modern philanthropic power couple should have. Gorgeous website, glossy promo videos, emotional speeches, partnered with massive global brands. The money? It poured in, but behind the curtain, insiders say it was less about charity, more about funding a luxury lifestyle. And we're not talking about the occasional business-class flight or fancy dinner. According to multiple former employees and non-profit watchdogs, donations were allegedly funneled straight into Meghan and Harry's personal accounts, hidden behind vague, operational costs. And this wasn't some one-off slip-up. This was consistent, for months, maybe even years. The warning signs? Oh, they were there. Youth programs they announced with huge fanfare, never launched. Women's empowerment initiatives, talked about endlessly, but never funded. Environmental projects, stuck in planning stages while the charity's bank account quietly drained. Staff who dared ask questions, silenced, pushed out, iced out of meetings. One ex-team member put it bluntly, it felt less like a charity, more like a luxury brand in disguise. Here's the gut punch. Meghan and Harry's whole post-royal identity has been built on being relatable, grounded, and purpose-driven. They've been the faces of compassion, integrity, and selfless service. That's exactly why people trusted them. That's why strangers sent what little they had. Why mega corporations handed over millions. Everyone thought they were building something real, but the whispers say otherwise. That money? Some allege it went to luxury estates and private jets. And now this isn't just about trust, it's looking like it could be criminal. Word on the street is that financial investigators in the UK are digging deep. Money transfers linked to the foundation are being traced to offshore accounts and personal holdings. This isn't gossip from a palace aide. This is from professional investigators who know what they're looking for. And Meghan and Harry? Silent. Not the dignified silence type. I'm talking deafening. No detailed explanations, no walking the public through the numbers, just vague legal denials and Instagram posts that pretend nothing's wrong. And when your entire platform is built on integrity, silence starts looking an awful lot like guilt. Behind closed doors, the vibe at the charity had shifted long before the public knew. Staff say the mission got blurry, priorities changed, meetings became more about optics than actual outreach. One insider said it felt like working inside a PR engine dressed up as a nonprofit. And budget meetings? Oh, those were the first red flag. Tiny amounts going to real charity projects, but massive sums flowing to consultants, strategic development, and travel coordination. And no one could really explain what those labels meant, or who was getting paid. Emails started surfacing where Meghan or Harry personally approved luxury stays and private chefs. The excuse? Branding. Apparently, keeping up a glamorous image was considered necessary to attract donors, even if the money had been meant for homeless families or underprivileged youth. Some staff spoke up, thinking maybe it was just disorganization. But the moment they asked too many questions, they were dropped from email chains, excluded from meetings, or quietly let go. Allegedly, there was even a list of problematic employees, and the only crime they committed was wanting to know where the money went. Meanwhile, on the outside, Meghan was giving rousing speeches on empathy and female empowerment, draped in designer outfits worth more than a staffer's annual salary. Harry was talking climate change before stepping on a private jet to the next speaking gig. The photos looked perfect, but insiders, they were growing done. Financial experts who've reviewed bits of the charity's records say the pattern is worrying. A huge chunk of money never reached the causes it was meant for. Instead, it got swallowed up by administrative overhead, a term allegedly stretched beyond any legal meaning. Auditors digging deeper claim some expenses were routed through shell companies tied to the couple's personal contacts. That's when alarm bells went from concern to full siren mode. And it wasn't just small donors getting suspicious. Global brands who'd partnered with the charity, handing over hundreds of thousands or even millions, are reportedly reviewing contracts. Some have paused payments. Others are demanding full audits. A few have quietly scrubbed the foundation's name off their websites. This is the kind of behind-the-scenes exodus you only hear about when the house of cards is wobbling. The UK authorities started their financial review quietly, but once they got in, things escalated fast. Bank records, donation logs, offshore account trails, all pulled apart. Early leaks say what they found was messy. Over $2 million in donor funds allegedly moved in just 5 months into accounts with no clear purpose. Some of those accounts were tied to consultants who had no online presence, no professional history, no nothing. Investigators now suspect they were shells to quietly reroute funds. One analyst put it bluntly, the whole thing looked like it was built to appear legit while doing the opposite. And here's the kicker. Under UK law, misusing charitable donations is serious. If it's proven Meghan and Harry knowingly diverted funds for personal use, this won't just be bad press. We're talking courtrooms, charges, and reputations that never recover. Their lawyers, generic denials, blaming disgruntled former employees and misunderstandings. But those former employees are coming with receipts, literal receipts, emails, whistleblower complaints, paper trails with signatures. One wealthy philanthropist says she donated $50,000 for youth education projects. Later, she discovered no such programs had been launched in the promised areas. When she asked for proof, she got vague pie charts and zero breakdowns. Now, her legal team is circling. This scandal couldn't have hit at a worse time for the Sussexes. They've been leaning on public appearances, content deals, and carefully managed media to stay relevant. Their brand, the couple who cares, is their currency. But if that collapses, if the compassion is revealed as marketing, the charity as a money shell, there may be nothing left to sell. What started as quiet whispers in charity boardrooms has now spilled out into the public square. Former staffers aren't just hinting anymore, they're telling everything. They describe working for the Sussex Foundation like being part of a high-pressure PR campaign that never seemed to end. One minute, they'd be prepping emotional speeches about disadvantaged youth. The next, they'd be arranging for a private jet to whisk Meghan and Harry off to an exclusive island brand retreat. And don't get it twisted, this wasn't just about luxury travel. These trips were allegedly paid for with charity funds. The justification? Building relationships with high-value donors. But staff say half the time, the donors looked more like personal friends and Hollywood insiders than philanthropists. Leaked internal memos have started making the rounds. Some of them allegedly show Meghan personally signing off on branding-related image expenses, which included everything from private chefs to couture fittings. One invoice even listed personal wellness treatments, while the foundation was publicly raising money for mental health programs. And Harry? Insiders claim he wasn't in the dark. In fact, some documents show him greenlighting strategic consultancy fees to companies later revealed to be owned by acquaintances. That's not sloppy bookkeeping. That's the kind of thing investigators love to tear apart in court. At first, their loyal fans rushed to defend them, blaming tabloids, blaming the palace, blaming anyone but Meghan and Harry. But slowly, painfully, that loyalty is cracking. People who once cheered them on are now posting angry threads demanding explanations, screenshots of donation receipts, and wondering if they've been conned. One viral post put it perfectly. If this is what purpose over privilege looks like, I want my money back. Here's the brutal truth. In the nonprofit world, your reputation is everything. Once it's gone, no amount of PR spin can fix it, and Meghan and Harry aren't just fighting bad press, they're fighting hard evidence. Every time a new leak drops, it doesn't just make them look careless, it makes them look calculating. UK authorities, according to insiders, are now in the forensic accounting phase, which is basically code for we're digging until we find something criminal. And from what's already out there, they might not have to dig very far. You know it's bad when Hollywood, the land of spin and reinvention, starts backing off. Insiders say some streaming platforms that had been in talks for new projects with the couple have quietly paused discussions. Translation, they don't want to touch a potential criminal scandal with a 10-foot pole. A PR expert summed it up. You can be controversial, you can be disliked, but you can't be seen as a fraud. Fraud doesn't sell. This isn't just Meghan and Harry's problem anymore. Their situation has put every celebrity-led charity under a microscope. Politicians are openly calling for new rules. Mandatory transparency reports, capped administrative spending, third-party audits before accepting donations. And behind closed doors, other famous faces are panicking, knowing their own charity practices might not survive that level of scrutiny. The truth is, the Meghan and Harry charity story isn't just about money, it's about trust. People believed in them because they promised to be different, and now, if these allegations hold weight, it turns out they weren't different at all. They were just better at hiding the same old game. Once upon a time, they walked away from the palace, selling us on a vision of freedom, authenticity, and integrity. But today, the palace isn't the villain in their story anymore. The villain might just be hiding in the mirror. The fairy tale has officially ended, and no amount of polished Instagram posts can put it back together.